Today is mulching day for the back garden. A little tricky mulching now when things are newly planted or newly planned. You can use, I got the big garden dump cart in the back, and then we have this two-wheeled cart that we've shown off. Now we have two of them. I showed that in a video the other day. But these dump carts are great out here in this open native garden back here where there's only like 30 or 40 plants been planted over there. So just wide open spaces. But once the plants start growing in together, I'm back to, traditional single-wheeled wheelbarrow, because I can go in between, plants and dump mulch in some places. And then other places we just have to do it kind of bucket to bucket. But it's far less mulch that we're using now, right? I got maybe 5 yards left on the driveway for this back garden. That's all we have. It's more work to get in between some of these places, and we'll just fill buckets for some of it. We've got so many annuals and small perennials, small shrubs back here that we don't want to put so much foot traffic on it. It's easy to step on stuff, and I have Steph is usually filming me going, as I'm backing up somewhere. She's, I can see her face changing as I'm about to crush something. That's my indicator. Stop moving around. We have a deer where we are is in a very an old development that's 99% developed. It was from the 40s and 50s, when this was built, and there's only a couple little places where there's wooded areas. We happen to have one of those wooded areas right behind us, and they can kind of easily connect over to Meredith College, which is not that far from us at all. And from there, they're on the Greenway Trail anywhere they want to go in Raleigh, basically. So I think they just get off the trail at Meredith and end up in the neighborhood. I don't think that this was an ideal place for them to be, because it's all a grid system, old style neighborhood. It's not the most inviting place, but we have a place for them back here. So what I have to do is occasionally I have a automatic sprinkler that has a motion detector on it. If we see damage out here, I just run that at night. And basically they came in here, ate some tomatoes down, ate some of the cucumbers down. We've got this fence around the vegetable garden for rabbits. I don't have it there for deer. So the deer have no problem. They can literally just step over that little low rabbit fence that I have in place. So they did a little bit of damage. The tomatoes and the cucumbers will grow back out of it so fast. I'll consider that a free pruning, and kind of got lucky that they didn't get on the hosta and some other things, but they did get the front of the redbud. You can see the damage, big old tasty leaves on the redbud. That was a good meal, huh? I had just pruned it up, and then they came along and took the leaves off the front of it. And I don't know if it's a they or a single one, or I have no idea, because we haven't seen them. But again, I'm shooting water at them if there's any motion. And that scene, as soon as I set that up, hopefully that hits them a couple times with water, and they just go move on. There's plenty of things to eat in this neighborhood. Moving them on. That's the main thing I need to do out here. But the garden is looking pretty daggone spiffy. We showed off, as you're watching this, you would have probably seen the front garden yesterday. The back garden, again, I'll have it mulched hopefully today. The days now we're at the 90 degree plus days with 90% humidity, with 80-90% humidity out here. And so, this is 8 in the morning, and I'll be through 2 shirts already before 9 o'clock for sure. The back path, I think, looks pretty good. This has been the hardest thing to establish in this entire garden, and it finally looks, I think, pretty established. Even the hostas and some of the things that would like more moist conditions are finally filling in. Got rabbits occasionally. This ribbon falls Carex is taking a little bit of that Carex. So look, couple little issues with critters that that's gardening, right? That's part of it. We do spray the deer repellent as well when this is going on, but that water coming on, that noise and that sound, and I got some lights coming on too. Hopefully, I'm not. A lot of you that have deer problems, they've just moved into your area and they're stay there. For us, it's a different deer than I had last month. You know, they're just moving through, and I've just got to get that one to decide to move on, buddy, and then we're okay, hopefully. Most of the time we find that when a deer lingers back here, it's because she has a fawn, you know, and so there's usually a little one with her, sometimes two. We've seen in the past, but I have this on the ladder just set up where if they come in that little path right there, it hits them in the face. I'll link this down below. I don't think it's going to work for you if you just have a herd of deer that's in your garden all the time. But if you have a straggler that just passes through occasionally, this thing, you can set it up and it works pretty well. Just again, there's plenty of tasty things in the neighborhood. Get out of you get out of our tasty plants. You see the view into the back garden here. I think it's looking pretty good. All the butterfly bushes are really starting to kick in. Despite the fact that like last year, it was much drier and we were having to do some watering, the garden was a little ahead of where it is now. I think we had tomatoes finished, and there's a few tomatoes in there, but last year I think we had a lot of tomatoes finished. I think we had our native blueberry in the front garden, had blueberries that were ready for when the open garden was going on. It looks like they'll be another week or two behind that, but it's fine. Annuals and perennials are starting to kick in, but I think this is a nice entryway into the garden. If you watched the video the other day about mulching the native garden over there, it's all now tied together. All the paths are tied together nicely. The patio area, this is another example. The annuals on this side are starting to fill in, and I'll let Steph do a panoramic of that later. The ones up here that are normally probably twice this size already are quite thin, but they are growing. I've noted that we've getting a few sunny 90-degree days now, and they've got plenty of water, so they're really starting to kick in. Variegated Radicans gardenia back there is blooming. I'm gonna let Steph do a panoramic view of the garden in just a minute of several different places, and you guys can see how this is looking. All the paths and the trails, everything looks good. Again, got a mulch today, and that will create that contrast out here. And I think, you know, again, what we're trying to do is when you stand in one of these spots and you look up a path, that there's something that you see in the background of that path that, you know, will lure you back to take the path, right? So we've got this hot blonde maple here on this side, but there's actually a Bihu Japanese maple that we planted a little further back. Hopefully it'll get some size on it in the next few years, and it'll be kind of the draw, the end of the path. What's at the end of the path that makes a person want to go in that direction? Something to think about when you're designing. But here we are, a week or so before lots of folks are coming to the garden, and we've got I got maybe 3 hours left of mulching here to get this back garden mulched. Steph has made tags to put on. We've got permanent tags for another kind viewer. We have so many kind viewers of this channel. Has made tags for the native garden over there, hang tags, metal ones, and those are being put out. So thank you so much for that. And then over here, we've got some temporary ones, but these will become permanent in time as well, is our long-term plan. Because at some point, we'll probably have close to 600 different plants in here. And so that's a lot. It's a lot for us, even us, to remember. I mean, there's a couple of plants in here that can become a struggle to remember. Where was it we got it? How did we get it? What was it again? What species was that? You know, it can happen, you know, as you start to collect plants that, you know, my memory is definitely not what it was, and nor even at the peak of my memory as a 20-something-year-old, I probably wouldn't have remembered all the plants that are in this garden, especially all the, you know, when you get to the point where you've got 50 or 60 hosta and all kinds of things. So there you go. I'm going to let Steph, you know, do some B-roll scans of, you know, some combinations here in the back garden. Thank you guys so much for following on.